Welcome back to the Life in D podcast. I'm your host, Tila, and I am glad to be back for another week with another great podcast. You guys, I know I already said this, but like each podcast, I just fall in love with the podcast and these guests. And I'm just so happy to be finally doing this. The energy and the excitement that I get from doing this is just I can't even explain it to you. This is porch talk. This is real conversations. This is stories from people who are really building something here in the Dallas area. And when I talk to them, I can feel their passion and their energy for what they do. Today's episode is just special because we got a great guest and we're talking food and we're not just talking about eating food, but we're talking about learning it. We're talking about building a business. There is something so powerful about breaking bread, learning a skill and being in community at the same damn time. Food just brings people together. The celebrations, the holidays, the comfort, the stories that you hear when you get with your family and your friends and y'all eating and y'all joking and talking. I know a lot of y'all can relate to just growing up and having a house full of folks and your mom or your cousin or aunties or grandma is serving up them plates of that good food, that comfort food. I'm talking collard greens. Me and my coworker the other day was talking about chitlins. Now I ain't had no chitlin. in years. But I know that for some people, they still eating it. Some people that's still comfort food. Um, my aunties in Memphis still eating their pig's feet. Mind you, I ain't had none of that in a while, but I know some people are still eating like that, and it just brings them comfort. And any enjoyment or happiness folks get from comfort food, I love it. We were talking about spaghetti the other day. Somebody was trying to say they didn't realize we be eating spaghetti like that. Like, what? Spaghetti is comfort food. We love it. Just don't put no sugar in my spaghetti. I'm not a sugar and a spaghetti type of girl, but I know to each their own, and I'm not hating, I swear. But anyway, lately Dallas has really been showing up for small business owners in a lot of different ways, right? And in some big ways. And I love that. I love supporting local business, and I hope y'all do too, and that y'all continue to help keep these small business owners in business. So today we're sitting down with the owner of Snap Bakery, a Dallas business that didn't just stop at selling baked goods, but evolved into an event space where people can come together, cook, bake, and learn. And I just think that that is so dope. The pivot, the realizing where you're at and what's going on and what you need to do. This guy is just absolutely amazing. But let's talk Dallas for just a minute. So we're seeing more people, be a little bit more intentional about supporting local food spots, right? We're out there visiting. I'm on TikTok all the time, and I see a lot of influencers or folks going and visiting restaurants, being kind of foodies, checking out the food and telling us what they think of it, and really supporting some of the businesses. I'll tell you one that I really enjoyed that I tried not too long ago. I think it's called Get Your Roll On. So they do like soul food egg rolls. I took my mom there, me and her. We got some I can't fully remember the name of the rolls, but basically it's this egg roll that has collard greens, mac and cheese. I want to say it had candy yams, and it was so delicious. So delicious. So they operate out of one of those ghost kitchen type places where, there's a bunch of different restaurants in the one building. Um, and it was just really, really good. We tore them up. And we also got, I think one of the egg rolls was like a dessert egg roll that had like maybe peach cobbler in it. Another one had some kind of cheesecake in it. Just a really good spot to check out. And like I said, I encourage you, go check that place out and go check out some more too. That's my community shout out. I am placing it in the wrong place, of course, but that is my community shout out, business shout out. It's called Get Your Roll On. I'll also tag them in the description as well. So you can go check out their page. I have been watching y'all. I have been stalking them on Instagram for quite some time, checking out the rolls and hearing the feedback as the people try them. And then finally, like early last year, we had a chance to go check them out and really thoroughly enjoyed them. And I suggest you go check them out too. It's a Black owned business. I believe it's a husband and wife team, if I'm not mistaken. Please forgive me if I messed that up. I know it's Black owned, but like I said, I think it's a husband and wife team. Charges in my head, not my heart. But at the same time, we're also seeing some businesses that can't make it. I did see what is everybody talking about? Salads and Go, whatever. I think it's called Salads and Go. I don't know. It's like this like fast food drive through salad place that is closing all of their Texas restaurants. Before that, the Biscuit Bar. Oh my God, the Biscuit Bar is done. I read their social media page and they were talking about the rising food costs and just needing to get some investors and different things that just did not quite pan out and they're having to close their place up too. Yeah, so some folks are not able to make it as well. This is just some hard times we're kind of in right now. And I get it, it's difficult for a lot of people. The rising ingredient costs, rent, staffing, all of that adds up. And so the businesses that are thriving right now are the ones finding kind of creative ways to grow without losing their soul. And that's what makes today's guest special because Snap Bakery didn't just adapt, they actually expanded the experience. And the one thing about being here in Dallas is we live for the experience. We'll pay an overpriced brunch situation with the DJ and the grass wall and the Instagrammable moments because we about that experience. Well, I'm glad we're able to connect. I understand being a business owner and you got all these events coming up. So I know that you're like super, super busy. So I am happy that you and we were able to connect today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. I love when people say that. I know you're super, super busy, and I'm just like, if y'all only knew what y'all didn't see on social media.
Yeah.
But no,
Like,
I've learned a long time ago, it's a blessing for people to see that because that means something's working.
yeah.
So I thank you for saying that because honestly, it's a build up period right now. Because obviously it's the beginning of 2026. It's the first quarter. You
Mhm.
know, things are flowing, the business is there, but booked out like I want to be, not yet.
Yeah.
But that's
Not yet.
good.
Right. It's
But
happening.
that's
It's gonna
good. That gives me time to prepare. Cause listen, if your first quarter ain't the first quarter is like your foundation for how the rest of the year is gonna go.
okay.
You gotta have that. Like anybody would tell you, any entrepreneur, you gotta have a good foundation to the start of your race, right?
Mhm.
So that means reflecting back on the whole year 2025 and maybe even going another year back and researching ideas that you've used before that worked or didn't work and looking at new trends that are happening now, look at the trajectory of like what your niche is going to, especially nowadays, economics wise, with tariffs,
Yeah.
inflation, uh, political ideals and things like that causing changes in people's like how they spend their money, who they spend their money with. So it's just like it's great to be booked and busy, but it's also great to be booked and busy with a good foundation. And outside of that, spiritually as well, I like to get myself. I'm working on getting myself aligned as well with that because that's going to be the biggest thing because that determines my character,
Yeah.
and how I interact with clients or potential clients or new people, or, that's how I appreciate what I have, even when I feel like I don't have it or I never get to. If that makes sense, like it helps me stay humble
Yes.
and open to give and to receive and to be able to use discernment because
Yeah, that's a big one. You like
it's a
you said all the key words right there. Determined, the gratitude, the preparing yourself, the being intentional. That's like all the stuff. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
I'm
you
like, I
got
don't even have to explain to you about like how we're gonna, we're talking about all the things already that we were gonna do.
for the record, I've never been on a podcast, but short
Oh.
story, I used to hate public speaking. Well, I
Hmm.
won't say hate. I was nervous like anybody else, but in middle school, and I ended up becoming the second vice president of our STUCO and also became the president of the National Junior Society in the middle
Oh.
school. And long story short, I had to public speak in both, and both of those kind of helped me be able to meld into that position. Because who would have thought years later that my gift of teaching would be connected to that? I wouldn't be able to teach, whether in this business or in general, if I didn't have that. So I've never done a podcast, but I've done public speaking. So I feel like it's kind of the same thing in a sense, just
Yeah.
more intimate, one on one kind of thing. So,
Yes, and it's funny, it's like, yeah, I was just talking to that about my with my coworker this week about how public speaking is so important to be able to use your voice in certain spaces and to sell your
right.
business yourself. And so how if if you're not good at it, practice, start working on it, get that skill, because you're gonna need it in most aspects of your life for sure. And like you
Literally.
said, translate to podcasts, it does translate to any other opportunities you get. And I'm so excited that this is your first podcast with
I am
me.
too. I am too. Yeah. It was destiny. All I'm saying is
Yes,
like
I
big man
agree.
upstairs is like he's doing some stuff because it's been a very long time since I've had any sort of vision about anything or any dreams about anything. Specifically with my career as an entrepreneur and um two and two came together literally the other day. Somebody reached out to me about their business closing because they got a vision that they're supposed to be in a different lane. And so, with that being said, she said, I heard your name in my sleep. Now, keep in mind, context, we've only met like once or twice, maybe a pop up, and we follow each other on social media, but it's just kind of almost like hi and bye. So,
Mhm,
it wasn't anything per se intentional of like, oh, yeah, I immediately thought of you. It was like your business name came to me in my dream. And I remember seeing your logo and I couldn't find you and yada, yada. I had to hunt you down, found you. And so, for you, I'm being obedient and I want to bless you with materials that I no longer need because I know you could use. And I was like, that's crazy because literally the yesterday morning, which is when she reached out to me, I was like, literally right before I woke up this morning, I had a quick flash of a vision of me teaching um, entrepreneurial skills to people who want to start their business or people who are in business. That's
mm.
crazy. I was like,
Yeah,
that's crazy. I was like, I don't, you try not to confirm it yourself because you got to wait for the divine intervention.
yeah,
But there's also just being like smart. Like, obviously, this has to be something spiritually connected because why would that make sense that lined up, right? And why would that line up just so easily with what I've already got going on and with my desire to teach growing and growing almost pretty much every day. It's like a burning desire to like I want to teach people how to get out of this rat race. I mean, if you have to jump back in, you gotta jump back in. Hey,
yeah,
ain't nothing wrong with it. But
mhm,
it's a matter of literally surviving and thriving. Because
yeah,
that's really what it is. And it's funny I mentioned 2024. I said when 2025 comes, I was like 2025 survive is the key word of the year
yeah,
because that's really what it's been for a lot of us, especially us of color.
yes, yes, that's true.
And a lot of us are doing this to each other because we're scared of losing what we got. But it's like you can gain more if you just shake my hand, hold my hand, even for
Collaborate
a
with
moment.
each other. Yes,
Something,
open the doors for the
something.
next person if you can. Yeah.
You worrying about this when this
Mhm.
is not this is a tool, right?
Yeah.
Just like a calculator, just like a keyboard, just like a computer. Those are tools. It is not the only tool. Now, it might be the tool you need, but there are other tools you can use. It's a stepping stone that you can use to get there. Let that
Mhm.
be your ultimate goal. Work what you got. Use your circle. That's what they're for. Everyone talks about building a village and a tribe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. You're the host. I'm sitting here taking over. do
No,
you
you're
need a
okay.
Do you need a
Right.
co-host?
'Cause you are doing it though. Like I say, you are
I'm
definitely
sorry.
in this
Okay.
little business that I'm like, we're about to get into. But
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
I'm a bit passionate. My bad.
no, I love it. I can feel your passion through the screen for real. I'm sitting here like, yes, I feel that. I understand. I know that. Yes, exactly. Because also, just a little bit background on me before we get into it real quick is I also had a business. I had a candle business. I started in the pandemic, basically 2020. So I was making
Love
candles.
candle businesses.
Yes, right? It was amazing, but also, it was a lot of work too. So it was so much learning and learning curve and growing and trying to make the candles and market them. And so anyway, so I definitely know the whole entrepreneur struggle like through in and out. And then also, I have a background in journalism, so I did some TV news as well. Yeah. So
Wow. Look at you, mogul.
yes, I definitely, can relate to a lot of the things that you're saying, like, wholeheartedly. But, kinda like where we like to start is kinda tell me a little bit about how you got started. How did you get into this? Like, did you, like, as a child, always think that you were gonna be an entrepreneur? Like, how did this happen?
Uh, Honestly, nothing I did made this happen. This happened by me being born, if that makes sense. Because I've always believed, and I wholeheartedly believe that this is one of my many gifts that I've been given from the Most High, and I just want to use it. So how I got started was single mother, two kids, Dallas, Texas. She's from the country. She grew up with a hard life, divorced parents, and broken family, and she had to pretty much like raise herself in a sense. And her siblings, my aunt, my uncles. Um, and so she took that with her of having a challenging life and used that as survival skills to raise two kids, even though she wasn't ready. She did what she had to do. It's a typical, in a sense, it's almost like a typical story of any person of color, but it's a success story nonetheless. So, long story short, she entertained a lot. We did a lot of kickbacks, barbecues, the usual,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Holidays,
Yeah.
when we celebrated holidays and stuff like that. So I would wonder how she'd make all these wonderful meals. And she literally was like, well, I can show you. Just don't be afraid to get burned when you get in the kitchen, which is hilarious because you're gonna get burned anyway. It's just,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Yeah. So I got in the kitchen and she taught me how to do more fulfilling and more curated meals. Nothing is super fancy, We're talking fried chicken, meatloaf, the Southern classics, and then
Yeah.
some new stuff like just kind of like spaghetti. Like I didn't think black people eat spaghetti like that, but yes, we do. Because to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
growing up, I always thought spaghetti was an Italian dish. I was like, oh, my mom knows how to make Italian, and those stuff like that. So she taught me how to cook, and at the same time, growing up, we didn't really have cable all the time, so I used to watch a lot of PBS, a lot of public television, and I was one of those weird kids that I won't say weird, but I was one of those kids that I would watch my cartoons, eat my cereal, soggy, whatever, and then after Arthur and all that would go off on the weekends, I would watch all the cooking shows and
Oh,
also
okay.
golf. I don't know why I still do have a weird fascination with golf. I don't know. Maybe I
That's a
should
good
play.
thing to get into. There's a lot
Like,
of, they close deals on the golf course, so that's what's
yeah,
happening.
exactly. But with the cooking shows, I would jot down recipes, food and desserts. My favorite one was Martha Stewart. I
Mhm.
mean, OG, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she would have Martha cooks and then she would have Martha bakes. I love both. It was one day that she made a scone. Of
Okay.
course, I didn't know what was a scone. I didn't know what a scone was. I grew up on biscuits and
Like
toast.
fancy bread.
Yeah, if we had anything fancy, it was croissants in a can.
Yeah.
You got to roll it out, roll it up, cut it apart.
Yeah.
So to me that was fancy. But no, she made a scone, and I said to myself, "That's a funny looking biscuit. I want to make that." But hilariously, I actually ended up making pizza dough instead from one of the recipes I had jotted down in the past. I was like, "Oh, actually, let's make pizza." We had pizza for a week. My mom was over it. She was like, "Please make something else. We're not eating pizza every day." Such a kid, right? But that was about
How old were
11.
you? How old
I
were
was
you when
about
you
I was about 11 or 12 when that occurred. Yeah. Before any of that, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
lawyer. I want to be a police officer." I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to go outside and get dirty and jump
Right.
off stair rails and dig in the
Okay.
dirt and get sunburned and then
Yeah.
be in the pool for hours on end. So
Mhm.
that's how it started, and then there's more to it, of course, as I got older. But that's kind of the start. It essentially it started at home.
Okay. So that's
Yeah,
interesting. I love when people, like, kinda like, the pieces kinda make sense. Like, you go back and look and like, I did have a passion for this, like, artists, when they were little, they were coloring or they were drawing as a kid, and then
yeah,
later on, sometimes we lose that and we come back to it as an adult or whatever, but I think whatever you kinda did a lot or got into when you're a child is something as an adult, you probably that's your passion, right? You should probably look
yeah.
back and connect the 2 things. But that's actually really, really cool. So your mom immediately too was, like, super supportive, right? She immediately was like, "Go cook this," and she allowed you to that's really cool too, because sometimes we don't always have that encouragement, you know? And then
Especially
also it's hard
especially
to admit
in a
as a
black
boy too,
household.
right? As a boy,
Yep,
they're like, "What are
yep.
you doing in the
Yeah.
kitchen?"
No, my mom, she was dead set on she was on giving us what she didn't have the opportunity to have or wasn't given because of her parents or just her lack of guidance growing up as a young woman herself. And she's always said that. She's like, my sister used to get in fights all the time. My sister always say, "Mom loves you more than me." And I'm like, that doesn't, we're living in the same house, sis. Like, relax. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Just because you get a whooping don't mean it was my fault and she loves me more. That ain't got to do with it. You should have been sneaking out the house. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But no, but no, she always said that. And I understood it more and more as I got older. Because little tidbit, it started at home, but it didn't really, like you said, flourish until I got a better understanding of the trajectory of how to get there. Because in
Mhm.
between, I started falling in love with art in general, and that's when I realized the art behind food. It wasn't just presentation; it was the cultivation of the dish itself, what seasonings you were using, and like how you mix, how you fold, how you handle the dish itself. How you knead your dough. Are you just Mike Tyson your dough? Are you giving it love and passion? They can taste that, those
Mhm.
type of methods and techniques, you can taste that and you can see it. So yeah, she always said, I want you to do what you want to do. I want you to be proud of what you do, not just to make me proud, but so you can stand up with your head up, you
Mm,
know?
yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna make you proud, mom. I'm gonna make you proud. Like a typical son. I'm the only boy and I'm the baby. So it's like, I always I've always kept her and my family in general, honestly, since we never really had a huge family that we
Mm,
connected to. We always had an immediate small family. And so I've wanted to do something that we all can share, to be proud of, that I could show to my nieces and my nephews or my baby cousins or even my elders who want to get into something. I have an aunt that can cook. Damn.
yeah.
I mean, she can burn and she's very holistic. So she's very big into healthy, organic, making her own things and seasonings and lip balms. And I'm just like, it's in us.
Yeah.
I want to be the one to help us pull that out of us, right? We can build a community as a family. Or really, if you ask me, we're already a community. We just need to build it to be sustainable. So then we can build a tribe of people outside of our circle. And that's my biggest thing with the business, even now, is community.
Now walk us into kinda getting the business off the ground, like, how what so I feel like you have a strong kind of maybe leading off of your passion. I feel like you really believe in yourself and you really have a very positive mindset. So, like, talk me through how you were able to put the pieces together, though. Sometimes we have passion, but we don't always have the resources, the money, the we just don't know how to do it. Sometimes a lot of us grow up in communities like my family. I don't have a lot of business owners in the family. When I started my candle business, I ain't
Same.
had there was nobody to call. I couldn't get a loan. There was no way for me to pull. I like the grace of God is how I
Yeah.
got that off the ground. So tell
Yeah.
me, like, how are you able to put your pieces together to kind of really get started?
Yeah. Gosh. So fast forward. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think. You try to tell the story as short as possible, but there's so many details.
Yeah.
So the moment I got to high school, I took a culinary program at Skyline, which is a local high school in Dallas. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I did that for a year. Then we had to move because mom got a big job. So basically, I was practicing at home and then trying to get myself in the actual field. So when I got old enough to work, I started working in the field slightly through working at a grocery store just to kind of get familiar with food and different types of food because it's a grocery store. There's all types of foods. And I worked at an international stores, Fiesta.
Okay.
And so they helped me understand there's more than just, bananas and oranges. Like, you have daikon, you have yucca, you've got papaya, you've got all these different fruits you could work with. And then you've got all these different herbs that are not from, America or, from just Italy or Africa. Like there's so many different things you can work with. So fast forward, I get to college. I start my freshman year. I think I was about 17. I started working on my culinary degree.
Okay.
Sorry, my pastry degree. That's really what it is, pastry degree. And I got kicked out my first year. Shout out to
Oh,
El Centro, by the way. Y'all taught me a lesson. But I got kicked out my first year for being pretty much a bad student, not caring, really just being lazy, just thinking it's just gonna happen, right?
okay.
Watching your other peers move ahead of you and just like, why isn't it happening for me? And not realizing you're not putting in the same work as them. You're skipping
Mm,
class, da da da. So took off that year, started working even harder in the industry, worked my way into getting into hospitality, specifically hotels,
mhm,
hospitals, movie theaters, restaurants, and working my way through those avenues. Went back to college after I ended up taking a 2-year break, actually. A lot of things transitioned and happened, but I was still working in the industry to get real world experience. Then I went back because I was like, okay, a degree would be nice and make my mom proud, it'd probably make me proud. And so without doing my research before going back, I didn't realize you don't need a degree for this. I mean, for the
mm.
business aspect, that'd be great. Yeah. Now I know that now, but for the actual doing of being in the kitchen, you don't need a degree to be a pastry chef. It's a trade. And it's crazy that I didn't realize that until after I went back for another year and a half before I dropped out. But it's crazy I didn't realize that or think about that because my mom taught me about trades. But you know what? You gotta live to learn.
You do, and I think society influence, we think we're supposed to do certain things, right? You're supposed to get degrees and
Hmm.
all that stuff too, so a little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah. So year and a
Right.
half. Yeah.
Do you recommend people go to school for it or no, today?
Ooh, okay. That's a whole other question.
Early.
No, 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 it's okay. Honestly, like we always say, do what's best for you. I would say
Okay.
this. I did it because, yes, I was told that was the way to go, and in my mind, that was the only route to go. I didn't have any other entrepreneur influences in my life or any business owners or anybody in my family that would understand that journey of what that looks like being an entrepreneur. Does it
Mm,
require a degree? Does it not? Do you need to get certain training, specialization? I didn't really have that. So the only idea that I had been indoctrinated with was you want to get forward, college is your best option. You can learn
yeah,
in the real world, but it's going to take you a lot longer. But it's so rewarding even in that lane. So to anybody who's thinking about going to college, do it if that's what your heart desires, or even if you're just curious of how that works,
yeah.
right?
Because it's
Test the
something you
waters.
said too about even the experience of going off to college,
Thank you.
the people
Go
who
to
travel.
junior college.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, go to junior college. You don't have to go to some big four-time university. Some things don't even require specialization. They just literally, they're a job. In my opinion, I feel like there are jobs that just exist for convenience, which is why they don't need a degree. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? You can easily go. There's plenty of people that would tell you who have great culinary careers. Yeah, I never went to college. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had never had a job, but a chef gave me a chance, and I learned everything and more on top of that. Doesn't
mhm.
mean it's gonna happen for you, but it could, right? That's all it is, it's just possibility. So whether you do or don't is up to you, but don't listen to someone like me and say, "Oh, well, he didn't go, and you look at him, he's running a business." Yeah, no, I really wouldn't highly recommend it unless you just have to. You know what I'm saying? If college just is not working out for you, you don't learn that way. You're a different type of learner. You have different sources of resources that are different where you can't do college. Okay, you're
Mhm.
hustling. You gotta do what you gotta do because being an entrepreneur, part of that is literally being a hustler. It's just an entrepreneur is a hustler who knows how to move logistically,
Yeah.
who wears a suit. They can walk in the rooms and you never know they used to sell drugs back on Crenshaw. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't here talking about, APRs and figures and things. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So you gotta have some smart. So in a nutshell, go if you want to go. If you don't want to go, find a better plan than just the traditional route, right? Make sure it makes sense for you and where you want to go and that you can sustain it. That's very important that you can have the support behind it without you crashing and falling and burning out.
Yeah, and then also be mindful of them student loans because that's another part, right, part of the college thing too.
Listen, I was
So
determined, junior
okay.
college or otherwise. I was like, I know I'm going to community college, but I know they got loans I can still take in case I want to do something. Uh-uh. Mm-mm. I'm
Yeah,
already bad at spending money. No.
yeah,
Because everybody know when you get that fast food, you ain't thinking
yeah.
about no books.
Okay.
We go out to eat.
Okay,
Okay,
right,
we go out,
the
oh,
lobster.
steak and lobster. Okay, out here partying. Like, oh, don't worry, friend, I got it. Yeah, when you get a car, don't worry about it. Right.
Yeah, to get us back on track, back to you got started with the starting a business. Oh, no, we were talking about getting the starting the business, like how you
Thank you.
kinda act. Yep, yeah.
Thank
I
you.
detoured us a little bit, sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was relevant. So, but yeah, so after going back a year and a half to college, I realized I don't need a degree. And at that point, I had already been like practicing at home, self-taught, and also I was working in the industry. So I feel like I had a good footing to go ahead and just make my dream come true and then start a business. But I didn't realize like it doesn't just happen, right? There's a whole bunch of planning and things like that. So I was like, I started looking into can you run a business from home? I knew nothing about college law, which is really, really
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Um, but growing up, I'd seen people run businesses from home, right? They weren't businesses, but they were businesses, doing
Yeah, yeah.
hair, selling clothes or whatever. So it was like, oh, I already kind of know about it because of my upbringing, but like legitimately, how does that look? How do you do that? And so I started
Mhm.
looking into college law. And I just started, in a sense, making my dream come true by doing research and understanding what branding is, marketing, and setting myself on a good footing, like getting a website, getting a
Mhm.
Google page, social media. Instagram was really big when I started. So I was like, perfect. Put yourself on a platform that's one of the biggest platforms and it's free, you
Mhm.
know?
Yes.
And then I just started YouTubing videos. mm, And then eventually I started coming in contact with people who knew entrepreneurs and that kind of connected there as well. And some of the people in my circle at the time were actually business owners and I didn't realize it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so at this point,
You
I'm pretty
were
much a young yeah, I'm pretty much a young adult. I started getting involved in like these community outreach programs and stuff, and some of these people were a little bit older than me, and saw they seen and heard what I was talking about as far as like what I want to do. And they were like, "Here, let me help you out. Let me tell you how to do this. And let me show you how to do this." And let me. So it started coming together, and it started off slow, challenging, a lot of late nights. But once word got around, it started in a circle of friends, and then asked, "Hey, my friend, told me you do cakes. Oh, hey, can you do cupcakes? Hey, what all can you make? I got a birthday." Next thing you know, just call after call after call, and then it got overwhelming at one point, like a lot, to
Yeah,
where like my foundation was shaking because my foundation was only good, in my opinion, for a temporary, in a sense, a temporary burst of growth.
okay.
But then when it started to get to the point of like I'm having people book me in advance, I'm having people ordering larger orders, I'm having to do bigger events. I'm like, my skill set is low. Like I don't know how to do that technique, but that can make me either a lot of money or give me a lot of exposure. And my pricing is off. I'm charging people like
I think that's
I'm
sometimes for new entrepreneurs trying to figure out pricing, right? Because you feel like, "Oh, I don't wanna overcharge or charge people too much," but then you don't realize you're not including your labor, you're not including being able to pay for all those supplies. So I thought pricing is a tough one. Yeah.
it is absolutely. So I learned my lessons. I'm still learning and I've learned a lot. So I've been doing this for about 10 years, but taking it serious as a business really like the last 5. So like and even then I would say like the last 3. So like it's growth. It's like, it goes from oh I have a business to have a business to
Mhm.
I have a business. Like there's these pivotal moments throughout your journey just as a person that you have to realize you can't just say what you have. You have to work and prove to yourself first that you can actually do it and do it in longevity. It's not just a, oh, I have a business, I'm doing cakes and stuff like that. And then it became I have a business. Like I need to learn how to run this like such. And then it becomes now that I've learned how to do this, I need to really implement this because all of that before was getting to this moment. And that's the moment I'm at of now that I know what it takes to run a business other than money, like I know in a sense about what's the word I'm looking for? Sustainability.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
kind of encompasses all of that. The pricing, your availability, taking breaks, ordering your material, like, logistics, management, people skills, expansion, revenue management. I mean, you name it. It just sustainability, in my opinion, covers that all. If you can learn sustainability, you can win. You could go further than what you can go further than what you thought you could from the beginning or even where you're at now. Or even in
Yeah.
between, because you know what it takes to get there, right? You know what it takes to get there, and you know what it takes to maintain that position. You know, so it, it's here.
Yeah. Was
It's
there a
here and
moment
I'm here.
for you when you were like, when you decided, like, "I'm about to officially do this, Imma sign these papers and I'm about to start this business, like, this is the only path," like, what was, like, the mindset when you realized, like, "Yeah, I'm really about to take off and do this?"
When I signed my first DBA,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't
It
know
was like a
anything
no going back now type of moment?
pretty much, yeah, because at that point when I signed it, it was probably like I think like year 2 or year 3. So I had been operating under the table. And I'm just be real. A lot
Yeah.
of people will do it,
A lot of people
but
do. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, you don't know what you don't know, right? And the
Mhm.
best thing you can do is to find out so you don't get penalized or get locked up or held up. So I learned what DBA, LLC, C corp, all that, or sorry, S corp, and all that. I learned the different levels of business that you could be in, or for
Mhm.
security wise. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not in the LLC yet because I can't afford that. That's a lot of money. $200, $300
Yeah.
is a lot of
When you're
money for
starting
some
out?
people,
Yes.
you know? Um, and I was like, well, let me do the DBA. It's easy. It works the same, except the only difference is obviously, well, I'm saying obvious because some people don't know this, but you know this,
Uh-huh.
but DBA doesn't really protect you per se. It just means you literally, I can be Terrell Johnson or I could be Snap Bakeshop. But
Yeah.
if I get sued on either end, I'm screwed, right? Or if
Mhm.
something happens and there's an incident where I have to, pay back something or some equipment, I don't know, whatever, just any sort of legal issues, I'm screwed on both ends. But with the LLC, I'm protected on my business and I'm protected on my personal. They can't come after my personal assets on my LLC or anything outside my LLC because it happened in the business. And so when I finally looked it up and I knew the difference, I was like, okay, I'm going to start moving in that direction to legitimize my business. And that was a big issue. And that's why I mentioned about branding and marketing um, a lot with a lot of people because year by year, it sets in even more how important it is for you to look the part,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah.
easy, in my opinion, it's easy to catch someone's eye and at least get them to get in the door if you can present yourself a certain way. The chaos they don't have to know about. That's supposed
Yeah.
to stay in the closet, right? You let all that
Mhm.
out when they leave the store. And you say, okay, now I got this order, but I got all this other stuff over here. Let me handle this because this is going to help me get this handled, right? And so it's an interesting mindset to have because it's like, well, you're working in chaos. Some people work better in chaos. It's not the
Mhm.
healthiest, but you
No.
eventually get to a point where you know how to manage that chaos to turn it into efficiency.
Right.
And that's what I've been working on a lot over the years is turning my chaos into efficiency. So therefore I can continuously present myself in a certain light or the business in a certain light, have that legitimacy before people and before clients, even before myself. You know, it's like cleaning myself up to look a certain way for me because I don't want to walk in and, I got a stain on my shirt and I'm meeting the president or I'm meeting some sort of high official. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. It's like your whole suit looks great but you got a big old ketchup stain from that cheeseburger you was eating just before you got here. And that alone in the business world, depending on what rooms you move in, can really affect how you move forward or move up or how you get connections because it's a critical world when you start really getting into those big leagues of like expansion and trying to get funding and things like that. So I don't want to go on a tangent. I'm gonna leave it there. But when I signed
Okay.
my DBA is when I was like, this is it.
Okay.
This is it. I still have it actually. I still have the copy.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So
And then what do you think about, like, when you're, like, in your business and you get to kind of a point where things are chaotic and things are crazy and you're maybe kinda weighing, like, "W do we press forward or do we need to pivot?" Or, like, I don't know, we're examining, we may need to, do something different. So, like, ho did you have a moment in your business where you kinda felt like, "I don't know what's happening here. Let me kinda rework some stuff."
oh yeah. All the
Yeah.
time. Like I feel like it happens at least no, I feel like it happens at least once a month. And that's not a bad thing because
Okay.
that comes with reflection. That comes with reevaluation. And if you're not doing that at least once a month, and in my opinion, really it's, once a week sometimes, just it doesn't have to always be so deep and retrospective. It doesn't have to be some let me get off a drawing board. No, you can say that for certain moments every quarter, once a year, whatever. Every once in a while, I want to say 1 to 2 times a month, it's always good to look at the beginning and the end of each month before and the current month you're in now, because that helps you a lot with understanding what works and what doesn't work. In my real opinion, it helps you cut off some things that you don't need to be doing.
Mm,
There are some things that are clear cut. This just ain't working, and you keep trying
yeah.
to make it work. What's that movie? Mean Girls. Quit trying to make fetch happen.
Yes.
It's not gonna happen. It's like, okay, let it go. And it can be
Yeah.
hard, but when you start doing those check-ins with yourself and your business, because your business is the other side of your personality. That's
Mhm.
you. So if you don't know how to deal with you, it's gonna be hard for you to try to implement anything going forward because that's gonna keep coming up and it's gonna either keep slowing you down, it's gonna keep stopping you in your tracks, it's gonna keep causing you issues. Prime
Yeah.
example, what was it? Retail. For me, retail was not working.
'Cause for those that don't know, you used to have a retail shop where you can come in and buy desserts and yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, well, you did your research. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Miss Journalist. All right. So yes. So when I moved in the spot in June, I opened in August and I immediately was like, I gotta get retail going. I wanna, people have been waiting for us to get us on place. People have been waiting for this to happen. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and get retail going. Yeah, nah. I'm sorry, nobody was coming. Nobody was I mean, I was open 3 days a week for like a certain amount of hours, forced a weekend. So I felt like that was good. Nope. Cut it down to 2 days. Nope. I said, you know what? I'm going back to what I was doing last year when I was in the shared storefront working out of Val's Cheesecakes. 1 full year, I wasted literally thousands of dollars
Oof. Yeah.
just on retail. Like, that's not catering, that's not when I started my classes, that's not any other little small projects or collaborations. Retail alone, I was filling that bad boy up, that cooler with cupcakes, brownie, and I was doing it, staying up late for days, not sleeping for 2 days sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm working on multiple things, but I'm like, I gotta get retail. I gotta get people really want to buy these sweets. Ain't nobody buying these sweets. Ain't nobody coming here and say, yo, let me get, let me not discount the people who have, because they meant a lot and they still do. And even the ones now with this situation or the spot I'm in now. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it took a long time for me to let it go.
Mhm.
Thank goodness I have a business partner. 'Cause and mentors and friends, they understand. So it ain't working right now. So I had to let it go. I had to
Yeah.
let it go. And I didn't want to, because I felt like I was letting down the people. Oh, do you have anything? You get those questions. Do you have this? Oh, I'm trying to get, and it's like, oh, well, that's just 10 people out of 100,000.
Yeah.
They're not gonna pay your bills.
Okay.
If they
Okay.
only, especially if if they only come once a month.
That's a good point as far as, being an entrepreneur and you have, like, your circle of friends or family or whoever close to you, and you're
Hmm.
trying to talk about maybe some of these things, and as much as we love them and we love them sometimes giving us some advice or feedback, sometimes maybe we can't always listen to some of the things they say because they ain't ran no business. They don't know how much
Yeah.
money and trying to do this and trying to do that. So, like,
Uh,
talk about how you kinda manage, like, your friends and family friendships and stuff while you kinda go through some of these entrepreneurial challenges, like, maybe do you just not talk to them about certain things, or how do you handle that?
I try to shield them because, like you said, some of them don't know, and it's hard for them to understand. But I have to take it back to a humanity standpoint. It doesn't matter what you do or where you go in your life. Everything involves humanity. And I say that to the point of, just because you're not a business owner doesn't mean you can't understand the frustrations to a certain degree, right? So
Mhm.
maybe present it to them in a different way, and they're like, "Oh, that makes sense." But with business, right? So
Okay.
because that's all it is. It's like literally like perfect example. I'm having it. Well, I'm not having an issue with the client. But if I was having an issue with the client, well, that issue with that client is sorry. That's a relationship. Is my point. The client and myself. That's a relationship. So we can treat that professionally, yes, but it's still a relationship, like as if you had a relationship with your friend and
Yeah.
you said something harmful or you said something, you treated them a certain way. Not saying the client has to be your friend and you got to treat them like a friend, but there still is a level of a friend. I don't want to say friendship, but there's a level of relationship there that you got to treat them right. You know what I'm saying? On top of, they're willingly coming to you to spend your money, whether by reference, they've worked with you before, or they found you, whatever. So you have to treat them a certain way. And sometimes that can be hard to explain to somebody who doesn't, like you said, doesn't have a business. So it's like talking to your friends can help you come out of that entrepreneur mindset
Mm.
to be literally just be you, be a human, and say, you know what? I didn't even think of it like that. I got a best friend who's real cool and real smooth. He's real good about that, because I'll be sitting there, and he'd be like, "Well, TJ, let me tell you something." Oh, here we go. But I love it though. I love it. It brings me down, right? It brings me to a level of like out of my feelings. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's not where you wanna be. You
all
can't
the time.
You're allowed to have feelings even as an entrepreneur, but you have to not legitimate. You have to be emotionally logistic, if that makes sense, or
Yeah,
logistically emotional. There we go.
yeah,
Like,
like
you have
control
to.
your emotions and stuff.
Right. It's okay to have, anger because somebody stood you up, your client stood you up, or they said they were gonna book a class and then you don't have the funds to pay for the materials for the class or whatever. It's okay to be angry about that. It's okay to be angry that your business is not going the way that you thought it would be. It's okay to be sad because, you feel like you're failing. But don't there's a certain way to grieve all of that without it affecting your business. And
Mhm.
having friends in a circle helps that, because it helps you come out of that. It helps you get all that weight off you. And they say, "Hey friend, let me carry this for you just a moment." Or
Which
let me
makes me
take this
think
off your
about, like,
back and let me get
as an
rid of this for you.
entrepreneur,
You know what
like,
I'm
how much
saying?
of our 24/7 do you have to have that entrepreneur, like, hat on? Is like, does the entrepreneur become your, like, identity a little bit because you spend so much of your time trying to, like, get everything set up and run your business and all that stuff, and, it's not like a 9 to 5 where you go do it's all the time, so, like, how much of your day or of your life are you, like, feeling like you're, like, you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like,
Yeah,
do I always operate in, like, boss mode or whatever, CEO mode?
yeah, yeah. I feel like I don't know how to say it other than I've always been an entrepreneur, right? This is just the thing about it is our gifts and our talents are there. They're there. Like
Mhm,
they're already in us. Our job is to, excuse me, is once we figure out what those are, if we ever do, some people don't, and it's sad, but that's a whole nother story. But when we do find out what they are, what do you do with it? And it's up to you to figure that out. It's up to you. That's why it's a journey. So I've always been an entrepreneur ever since I was a kid. I didn't know how to put a name on it, but I knew that I had something in me that just wanted to constantly grow, but also in the same process and challenges, I wanted to bring people with me, or I want to pass something on to other people. I wanted something, like I said, that I could make my family proud and leave something behind for my family, whenever I retire, when I move on to glory. Always knew that I wasn't stationary. I was meant to move because that in between period of being interested in cooking and baking and learning at home to getting to college, I used to draw. I used to do art. I used to pick out flowers and put together arrangements. I used to do poetry. I used to want to write music. That I delved or I dove into art just as a
yeah,
basic
'cause you're a creative.
principle. Yeah. Right. And so I knew that, okay, if I don't make it in the culinary world, maybe I could be a poet. Maybe I could be an artist or some sort of, maybe I could be a creative writer. So I was not afraid. I wanted to be a choreographer at one point. Because I love the move. I love dance. I love art. And so it's like, I always knew, okay, I'm going to pursue the culinary world. I'm going to pursue being a business owner or owning a restaurant or whatever that may look like. But I'm going to keep myself open to possibilities, right? Because all those things can flow right into that. And all the other things on this side could flow into that too. It can go either way. And I'm okay
Mhm.
with that. So I've always been open. I've always been an entrepreneur and taking off that hat. Um, I'm going to take it off when I go to sleep
So
because
you
I'm
do spend your 24
Yeah,
hours in
yeah,
entrepreneurship.
well, because
Yeah,
it's me, right? That makes sense, like, it's not a part of me, it is me,
okay.
right? Or else I wouldn't be able to work I wanna be able to handle the ball like I do. Jordan,
Alright, alright.
I'm not trying to be cocky, but I'm just saying that, you grow into this confidence, right? You grow into that talent, that gift. You start to realize how influential it is. You realize how much of a blessing it is to others, which brings my heart joy. Because that's really it's so much sadness and so many things in this world. And if I can use what I was born with to be able to just add a little light into someone's life, to give them some sort of hope, I don't want to be the hope. I want them to find the hope through their own journey. I don't want to be that hope, but I do want to be, in a sense, a helping hand. That's really it, because that's what we're here for. I just want to be a
Exactly.
helping hand. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna leave it
And
at
what do you think
that.
about the Dallas area for your business? Do you feel like the Dallas community is pretty supportive, or how do you feel about just being in Dallas in general?
Oh, this is my hometown, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna always love it.
Yeah.
Just like despite any flaws, no, there's no perfect anything anywhere. And going into being a business owner and watching so many of these businesses, specifically restaurants, open and close within a
Yeah.
year or even
Yeah.
less.
This past year too has been really rough for yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't scare me. I don't have any fear about it because you know what? If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes your journey stops at a certain place where you have to pivot.
Mhm.
Um, and there was something you said a second ago. You said pivot in something, pivot in purpose, or it'll come back. It was another P word,
Oh,
but
okay.
I can't remember. It'll come back to
Me
me.
either.
But nonetheless, I'm not afraid to pivot, and I'm not afraid to pause. I'm not afraid to lose. It does it
Mhm.
feel a little scary? Oh, of course, yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I'm more worried about, okay, I don't care about losing it. What's gonna replace it? Right?
Mm.
And that unknown is what gives me a little bit of concern. I'm gonna say that because I ain't gonna worry. I ain't gonna worry. I ain't gonna worry. I am not gonna worry. I'm sorry. It does nothing. It does
Yeah.
nothing. I'm not gonna be fearful, but I am gonna be concerned about what the next step is. And being in Dallas, I'm not really concerned because I feel like a lot of these restaurants come from places of I wouldn't say greed, but they don't have what I have, right? I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this to be famous. I'm not doing this because I want my name to be the name that you think of when you think of something sweet. I don't care about all that. I don't. I enjoy the connections, the community, the networking, the benevolence I'm able to do from this place of passion and to use what I have been given to help others get to where they either want or need to go, right? I'm happy to be a caveat to someone or a catalyst for someone's career or decision making. I that's why I love working with kids, and that's one of my biggest things to do. I love being able to see that spark in them go from a spark to even just the tiniest flame, and they take that and they start cooking, physically or metaphorically. They start realizing like, oh, it's not that hard. Oh, he makes it seem, I don't want to say effortless, but he makes the dream seem more possible.
Mhm.
It doesn't all because the biggest mindset that a lot of us have when we don't know about entrepreneurships, the first thing we think of that we need the most of, money.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I walked in, I'm not looking to be rich off of this. From the reality of restaurants, over all the decades and years of how restaurants have run, working in them myself, and just being a restaurant owner myself, I know it's possible to get rich, but that's not my aim. That's a
Mhm.
benefit. The money is the fact that I get to meet somebody, hear their story, sit down and eat a slice of cake with them, or see them in the class and teach them something they never done before, or pass on some knowledge or be a resource to them. That's 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 right there.
Yeah.
That's love. That's what I want. That's what I appreciate. It always makes me emotional because I get so happy just at the joy of being able to help people because it's such a cruel world. It's always been a cruel world. And it's
It is.
even worse now. The gatekeeping's got to stop. I
Yeah.
understand there are some things that you got to hold on to. I understand there's some foundational things. But outside of that, there's so many other things you can give to somebody that could help them go so much further even than you. And you can't be mad about it.
Mhm.
We need to start humbling
Just take
ourselves.
somebody else's win. If I did something to help you and you win, that's a win for me too.
And even then, yeah. And I even speak on that even more, just a little bit. Like, I guess for me, I don't do it because I want to get some sort of credit from it too, right? I don't care about the reciprocity. You can dog me. You can dog me after I help you and say, "Oh, I got it by myself." I don't want to be mad. I'm gonna still be happy for you.
That's a good you real good. I don't know. I might
It's
feel some
not.
type of way.
I don't get me wrong. I still feel so. I'm gonna look side like, really? Oh, that's what
Right.
you. Okay, cool. I understand. And because at the end of the day, even if that happened, I have to put some fault on me for not using my discernment to see a snake.
Mm.
Sometimes you
Okay.
miss them.
Yeah.
That's why they low on the ground. But when your head is high, it's hard to see them, right? So
That's true.
anyway, but yeah, but yeah, to just put a cap on the lid or the jar. Yeah, I just do this because this is what I'm meant to do. And I know you hear a lot of people say that a lot, but I'm in one of my many lanes that are available to me. And all I'm doing is just merging onto the next highway for the next lane for me. And anybody else is welcome to follow. Anybody else is welcome to drive next to me or even ahead of me or behind me. Either way, I'm gonna play watch guard and I'm gonna see who I can help accelerate. Because I have nothing to really gain from any of this other than life, love, and peace.
Yeah.
And that's the best. Those are the best three riches you could ever have.
Yeah.
Everything else is a benefit, in my opinion. I gotta say that because people be like, he think that's the way it is. I'm
Right.
not
Like you
naive.
crazy. We want these money, these
Yeah,
Louis bags. What?
right. I'm not naive. I know what it takes to get some of those things, right? I'm not naive,
Yes.
so I don't want to sit here and sound like a hippie. But at the same time, those are my focuses, right? I want to have a happy life for myself, for everyone around me, especially my family. I want there to be love involved in anything that I do, even when it's tough love, even when
Mhm.
it's tough love on myself, you know? And of course, through it all, I want to have peace. And I want to have peace between myself, other people, my clients, future clients, relationships, whatever. Peace through it all. Even when it hurts, even when there's pain, even when there's challenges and frustrations, I still want to have some sort of solace, content feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like the Messiah was to his disciples on the boat. He just said, "Be still." The
Yeah.
sea is going crazy. Big party. Okay, whoop whoop, tornadoes, tsunamis, typhoons, you name it. He said, "Relax." So I said, "That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be in the." I'm not saying I want to be in the chaos, but if I'm in the chaos, I'm cool. I'm a little concerned because I'm human, but cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward at the sunlight, the horizon, while everything else is going on, and I want people to be able to do that for themselves without feeling like it's impossible because it is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a word
Okay,
right
I'm
there.
sorry. My bad.
Like, I
My bad. I didn't mean to
like, you
leave you
just close it out. I
speechless.
can't even tag on to that. Look, you did that. Yeah, let's go ahead and let people know where they can find Snap Bakery, the website, the social, your handles, all the stuff.
Yeah, so you can find Snap Bake Shop located in the Design District of Dallas, Texas, right behind Double D's. And you can find us on any avenue under Snap Bake Shop or go to our website, snapbakeshop.com. Find us on Google. If you go to Google, whether you ordered or not, go ahead and leave us a review because we need it. And we look forward to seeing some of y'all in our classes, our events we just posted for January, February. We got some awesome things coming up, especially for Valentine's Day. I would love to have you there for Valentine's
I
Day.
yes, I was on the website thinking, "Dang, I need to sign up for this." Like,
Yeah,
you
so
like are really cool. And
yeah.
also, I'm not a baker. I'm barely a cook. So I need some skills. I need some training.
Yeah, I would love to have you there. Bring a plus one if you like, if you have
Okay.
one, and we'll talk. I'll talk to you outside of this, but yeah,
Okay.
snapbakeshop.com. That I have all your information, and you could always call, text. I'm up late.
Y'all, I try to keep these podcasts down to about 40 minutes or so. But this, guys, we just had so much fun, so many things to talk about that it did run a little bit long, but I think it's worth the extra time. So watch the whole thing, enjoy the whole thing, and share it with your friends, right? A big thank you to TJ of Snap Bakery for pulling up and sharing his story. I love that people are willing to be so candid and tell us about everything that worked, that didn't work, the pivot, all of that. And so if you are looking for some baked goods or a hands-on experience where you can actually learn how to cook, bake, make sure you check him out. I know I am. I already told him, sign me up for some of the Valentine's Day. I am there. I'm ready because it just looks so exciting and the energy, the vibes. I'm going to do it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and support the podcast. Share with your friends. If you are feeling up to it, our Cash App is Life in the D Pod. And you already know what I'm going to say. Same porch, same real talk. Eat well, spread love, and live free. I'll see you guys next week.